pharmacist this morning. It is the first Sunday of September and the last day of our current August moon. We start the new moon cycle tomorrow. Time for intention. So think about your loving intentions for your life, for yourself, for our world, our community. As always, we begin our service with the lighting of the Christ candle. In the beginning was the one presence of undivided and unmanifest, pure spirit of life, light, and love. In its generosity, it shared itself, its consciousness, and its love in the visible form of creation. We acknowledge this presence within us and as us, the creative energy of the divine feminine and masculine expressing in all our giftedness and creativity. We acknowledge this presence in our companion Mother Earth and in all sentient beings. This universal presence in everything we call the Christ. We light this candle as a visible reminder of that Christ presence expressing in, as, and through us in this present now moment. It is the truth. Let us own it. And now we invite Kelly Garmeyer. We're so happy to have you here to lead us in our opening song.
Well, welcome everybody on this Labor Day weekend. It was Wednesday, I think, before Leslie said to me, you know, we're off on Monday. It was like, oh yeah, that's right, it's Labor Day. So somehow everything still feels out of sync, but I'm glad that you're here. So I listened to a great Matt Kahn audio this past week. And I'm going to start off this morning with something that I wrote based on that. And I think it's going to be very powerful. And it's all about prayer. And one of the things that he says that really jumped out at me is that we are sacred wisdom keepers of unity consciousness. And what that means to me is that we are the ones who are called not to be divided, not to allow ourselves to go into that dualistic paradigm. And I think that's so true, that we are called to transform and transmute all of the negativity into positive blessings for others, for ourselves too. And we know that the world is going through quite a bit at the moment, isn't it? I mean, you just think the last 2 weeks seem to have upped the ampage on the last year and a half even. But I want to say to you and remind you, this is the process of ascension. It's not going to hell in a handbasket. This is the process of ascension. And we have to remind ourselves that ascension isn't this lovely, yellow brick road that we kind of think it is or thought it was. It's challenging and, it's rough. So what I want us to do as we begin, and this is all going to be part of our prayer intro this morning. We'll go right into the prayers that we normally do. I want you to think about your feelings over the last, say, 2 weeks. What are your feelings about Afghanistan after seeing the pictures on the news of what happened there, of people grabbing on hold of the plane and falling off? What are your feelings about the bomb that killed the American soldiers? What's the residue that you're left with? What are your feelings about the subjugation of women and children there now? And the imposition of a harsh rule after 20 years of efforts and billions of dollars to change the culture there? Or what are your feelings after the intensity of Hurricane Ida in the south, and then all of the flooding that followed this past week? Or the incredible destructive fires that have come close to us? If you've been evacuated, do you still have some energy around that in your body? Or the disheartening wave of Delta infections? What are your feelings when you see that, hear that? Or the attempts to restrict voting and women's rights? Or the crazy unwillingness of some people to even acknowledge the existence of the virus? Or the intense anger around wearing a mask? Or believing in conspiracy theories about the vaccine? What are your feelings about the weariness of the ongoing pandemic and having to continue to live a restrictive life? So I want you to sort of put all of those feelings into a big ball, maybe like in your heart space. What? Oh, well, we'll get there. So connect with all of your feelings around all of these things, whatever else is bothering you at this time. And if you are feeling disturbed or overwhelmed, it's okay. That's our starting point. And we're going to use that energy in a productive way. So let's use the sorrow, the anger, the overwhelm as an ingredient that we will make prayers out of for humanity. And so we pray. Beloved universe, through the power of my I am presence, and amplified by the presence of all who are here this morning and all those who join us on Zoom, and all of the spirit guides and the ascended masters, and all those who are helping us from the other side. May all the heaviness and sorrow in our hearts, apathy, depression, anger and frustration, fear and regret, sadness and overwhelm, all be used as building blocks through which we will weave together like a tapestry of healing that we send out as prayers and blessings to our evolving humanity at this time. May all the negativity, stagnation, and heaviness in our hearts be utilized as prayer energy to bless all beings in Afghanistan, to help speed the recovery of all those affected by the floods and the fires, to help bring peace and goodwill to all states and lands, and return lawful respect and justice to the divine feminine, especially in the laws of our and every land. May any anger, sorrow, and grief be emptied and used to create higher vibrational blessings for all of humanity. And I invite us now to imagine, sense, or feel the release, the flow of that energy, of all the discord and negativity. To help heal the hearts of those who have lost loved ones or in the process of doing so, blessing those who are sick with miraculous recovery, blessing those who are divided with miracles of unity and oneness, blessing those who are shut down with the courage to get back up, blessing those who have been hurt with the gift of forgiveness, blessing those who have hurt others with the realization of accountability and responsibility, blessing those who are suffering with sweet relief. May all the heaviness of my heart, of our hearts, be emptied and used to mold the highest blessings that we can fathom and envision for the greater good of all. And so it is. And so we continue to pray as we always do then for those who are on our prayer list this morning. Again, lots of new names being added each week. And we start by praying for Eric Conway, for Sean Bartlett, who's just finished his chemo, for Bob Castro, Dale Frank, Andy Holman and his family for a peaceful transition, for Charlie and Will McBride, for all those affected by the fires and the flooding and the hurricanes. We pray especially for strength and courage for our firefighters and first responders and their families, for Megan Carson, for Denise Mazzetti and family, for this family that have asked to remain anonymous for their special intention, for Cynthia Robertson, John and Claudia Martin, Dennis and Penny Matthews, for Michael Green, Kieran Hiskin, Megan, and Dylan. And if there's anybody else you would like to pray for, please say their names out loud at this time. And so we pray as always together. There is only one presence and one power, active as the universe and as our lives, the all-loving goodness of God, and all is well. So we turn now to the daily word for today.
The daily word for today is balance. With God, I live a life of balance. Work can be a fulfilling use of my talents and efforts. I may enjoy the challenge of growing in responsibility and using my ambition to accomplish great things. But if I work too much or for too long, my energy might start to wane and my thinking become dull and uninspired. Likewise, too much leisure time may rob me of my motivation and pull me into a spiral of inactivity. Spiritual practices bring precious balance into my life. Through prayer, I touch eternity and feel the presence of God within. Through meditation, I focus my mind and feel calm and grounded. Through speaking affirmations, I claim divine ideas and act on inspiration. In gratitude, I find balance in God, the one presence and one power in my life. So, we know that we're going to be leading the meditation. We're put on a schedule, and my thoughts have been wondering what should be our meditation today. And I felt divinely guided, truly, to offer our meditation in service this morning. One of our core values at Unity in the Gold Country is loving service. And if you haven't guessed already, the theme of today is love. I was reminded a couple of weeks ago by Dr. Nancy Chandare at our morning meditation on Mondays that it's okay to send love to the fire. Our typical response is to fear it or to resist it. We even call people who work with the fires firefighters, right? Well, I'm going to call them fire managers. They direct the fires away from structures. And I'm going to invite us today to use the love that we are to send love into the fire, to transform it and to calm it. And in this way, we energetically support those who are managing the fire. Love isn't an emotion, it's a power, and it comes from our very heart. So I invite us to enter this meditation with the strong intention that reality is malleable, and we will use the power of our hearts to transform the fires around us. So I invite you to settle into your seat, get comfortable, close your eyes, and start to observe your breath. As we watch our breath, we settle into the now moment. With intention, we set the intention to clear our minds and to enter into the quiet. I invite you to bring your awareness into that heart center, that beautiful space where the essence of who you are resides in power. Stir up that beautiful love energy. And as you do so, I invite you to set the intention that you will shift to your true self, shift to the higher self that knows no space and no time, where we are all united, all of us in the sanctuary, all of us in the homes, joining us on Zoom. As one, we magnify each other, we amplify our power. I have been singing a song to the fire this week, and even though I am not a singer, I'm going to tell you the words and ask you to join in with me as we sing together this love song to the fire. The words go like this: I send my love into the fire. I send my love over the flames. I send my love into the fire. Peace, be still, I claim. I send my love into the fire. I send my love over the flames. I send my love into the fire. Peace, be still, I claim. I send my love into the fire. I send my love over the flames. I send my love into the fire. Peace, be still, I claim. One more time. I send my love into the fire. I send my love over the flames. I send my love into the fire. Peace, be still, I claim. Peace, be still, I claim. So let us hold that vibration in the silence for a moment. Thank you for your loving service. And now we have a song called Growing Love.
We had a little change to the songs. This one's called Heal Your Soul. And just kind of keep you in that meditative state. Heal your soul. Do the work. Learn to pray. Pray for love. Love is God. Love is all. The light within guides your way. Always here to stay. The light within guides your way. Always here to stay. Heal your soul. Feed it all. Learn to pray. Pray for love. Love is God. Love is all. So do the work. Heal your soul. The light within guides your way. Always here to stay. The light within guides your way. Always here to stay. Be the all-seeing eye, seeing eye. Be the all-seeing eye, see it all. Be the all-seeing eye, feel it all. The light within guides your way, always here to stay. The light within guides your way, always here to stay. Heal your soul. Heal your soul. Heal your soul.
Thank you, Claire, for that beautiful meditation and for that beautiful song. I came across that video this past week, or an audio, and I asked Kelly if she'd like to learn a new song. So my hope is that we will get to sing that as a community song going forward. So the title of my talk today is Falling in Love Again. And I'm sure those of you who are a little older know that there's a song, Falling in Love Again. I don't know if it's Cole Porter or someone from back there in the 20s or 30s. And I want to start with 5 chapters of a book. You said, what? But it's called The Autobiography in 5 Short Chapters by Portia Nelson. And I've used this before, but I kind of came across it. It was in my tray on my desk, and I thought, you know what, this is perfect for where we're at. So chapter 1, I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I'm lost. I'm hopeless. It's my fault. It takes forever to find my way out. Chapter 2. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place, but it isn't my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it's there. I still fall in. It's a habit, but my eyes are open. I know where I am. It is my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down another street. And you know, the point of power there is in chapter 3, where it says, my eyes are open. It is my fault. So when we take responsibility for ourselves, that's when we can make progress and we can do the work. And one of the lines of the song was, be the love, do the work. Yeah. So I can't help but feel that this poem is the anthem for the times that we're living in. It's one of those poems that each time you read it, it seems to be written just for this moment that you find yourself in. I know that I read it over a year ago, but it seems ageless and ever relevant. And it reflects the struggle that we all go through in order to wake up. Like, we all want to wake up. That's why we're here this morning. But it's a struggle. There's a density that we find ourselves in that seems to obscure the way for us in order to wake up, or to see clearly how to wake up, or how not to stay stuck in our habits. And despite our best intentions and desires, we can have a hard time finding our way out of those old patterns of feeling, thinking, and behavior. It becomes very unconscious, doesn't it? Wanting to do the right thing or wanting to take the higher road isn't always as easy as we would like it to be in the heat of the moment, you may have found. Especially during these times of heightened political tension and times of pandemic. It seems like the universe keeps giving us many opportunities each day to see if we can stick with our intention to go the higher road. I can share a story on myself from last Sunday morning, related to this very point. I was out front, and the greeters were there, and a lady came in that I've never seen before or met before, didn't know her. And she suddenly turned and said, "Do I have to wear a mask?" And I said, yes. I said, "Our board has decided that for the health of everybody present, that we need to mask up. We're following county guidelines." She said, "I can't wear a mask." And I said, "Well, I'm sorry, but that's our policy." I said, "You can always join us on Zoom." So with that, her friend came in. She said, "They want us to wear masks." And the other lady said, "Well, I don't want to wear one, but I'll wear one." Well, she said, "I'm not, I'm leaving." And she said, as she went out the door, "You're a bunch of Nazis." Nazis. Now, you all know that Claire Palomino, president of the board, is a Nazi, right? And all of our board members, and me. Now, my intention was to be non-reactive, to play it cool, to keep my composure. But I have to say, I was triggered internally by the meanness of the comment and accusation. It hurt to have someone say that and direct that at me, but not just by myself, but all of you. So I felt a little outraged, and I felt the need to defend myself and us. So I wanted to set the record straight and to point out how outrageous the accusation was. You know, these false equivalencies that people make, that because you ask someone to wear a mask, you're a Nazi. They're awful. So I followed her out, and I did say very calmly, I didn't throw names or accusations or anything. So I said, "So you are saying that we are equivalent to the people who tried to exterminate a whole race of people, the Jewish people, and who ran concentration camps and gassed people. You're saying that's who we are." And I guess the outrageousness of all of that, once it was pointed out, seemed to hit home. And I could see her visibly sort of shrink, and she got into her car. Her friend, who was listening, took me to task for making the point that I made. She said, "You didn't have to say anything to her." And so in that moment, I realized that I was being gaslighted. I was the problem here, not her or what she said. And I realized that, you know, sometimes you have to state the not so obvious for some people to help them to wake up. However, having said that, at the same time, I realized that I had lost my cool and reacted internally in a way that didn't feel right for me and wasn't the internal calm that I was trying to keep. But what I said was respectful and appropriate to the situation. But once again, I felt as if I was wandering down the same street and falling into the same hole. So maybe the expectation that we never fall into a hole isn't realistic, or at least it's not the disaster that we think at the time, or that it takes several times of falling into the same hole on the same street before we are able to progress the way that we would like. And I will say here that, one of the things that we never did was have a script ready for what to say if someone starts challenging you. And, that's on me. I should have thought of that. And so when you're not prepared, you get kind of taken off guard. Anyway. But what's that all about? Perhaps not wanting to react is actually a very egoic thing that is based on wanting to be perfect and less than human. It comes maybe from a desire to never react or to never make a mistake or to never have that flame of energy that rises up inside you. But isn't that part of the human condition that we're dealing with in these times especially? And there is something frightening, I think, to the ego when it feels that energy burst rise up because we feel out of control. We feel we've missed the mark and are now open to our own and other people's judgment, I think, which is a big part of it. Our inability to always be loving in our responses highlights our feet of clay while acknowledging our angelic aspirations at the same time. So when I went upstairs to pray with our volunteers before the service, we do that on Sundays. Oh, I forgot to do it this morning. I knew I forgot something. I quickly forgave myself for that whole reaction and experience and my own limitations. And then what followed that in the next hour was this wonderful, warm, loving experience of UGC community at its best. We had such a nice Sunday service here last Sunday. They were a really nice crowd, as opposed to, no, we had a bigger crowd, but it was beautiful, it was wonderful, and it was a celebration of two of our own, Reverend Frank and Diane Castor-Weir. And it was as warm and as loving a service as I think we've ever had here, with this genuine care and heartfelt sentiment. And I came away I remember closing the door and heading to my car, and I was like on air. I just felt like, wow, what a great experience, what a great service. And it was an experience of supportive people, a team of people, each playing their part, each respecting everybody else's part that we have to share. No one needed to dominate anybody else. I did the invocation at the beginning to start the service. Kellyanne just did this beautiful job on the music with Frank, and we had everybody up dancing. Marlene did a great meditation, as is her wont. And Reverend Frank gave this very heartfelt talk about the week that he and Diane had just experienced. On his first day of retirement from his old job, Diane had a seizure and ended up in the ICU at Mercy Hospital in Sacramento. And he wasn't able to go see her because of COVID. He wasn't allowed in. And he gave this great talk called No Thing is Certain. And Reverend Joe and Lynn, our founders, were here and shared in the joy of seeing the fruits of their labors with Reverend Frank and Diane getting ready to leave the nest and lead their own Unity community in Bellingham, Washington. And all of the congregants joined in so beautifully in the singing and the dancing and adding their energy. And we do these events so well here because of the strong bonds and the connections that we all share, genuine friendship. And it was as if the universe was responding to that accusation of us being Nazis with a very clear example of how we're not. In fact, we're far from it. We are heart-centered and caring people who want to do the right thing. That's all we want to do. We don't want to harm anybody. We want to do the right thing for ourselves and others. We want to take action that shows that we are indeed our brothers and sisters' keepers. Wearing a mask is how we say, I love you, I care for you, I want you to not be at risk. And yes, it's uncomfortable, and yes, it's a pain, and yes, it's a sacrifice, but it's one that we have chosen to make. And to be honest, it seems to me that one of the side effects of the pandemic is that humanity has had to take a look once again at the whole concept of sacrifice and to incorporate it into our modern spirituality. Because at the core of sacrifice is love, and we need to reestablish the connection between the two. Parents, of course, don't need that lesson because they know as parents that their life is all about sacrifice for their children. So what better time than now, as we ride these COVID waves, to discern or reflect once again upon why we choose to live our lives as part of a spiritual community, living our lives with God and for one another, dedicated to being love in the world and to bring light to as many people as possible. You know, we can easily get blasé about our faith, or we can sort of just do things out of rote or out of habit. And yet our spiritual practices or our involvement in a spiritual community needs to be refreshed. You know, like your computer, you need to refresh the screen every now and then. And we can even tend to circle the wagons by keeping to our well-known circle of friends, only going to the study groups or events that we always go to. But spiritual community is a much more open endeavor, whereby we are open to the promptings of Spirit to meet and greet new members, new people, to keep enlarging the circle, and to participate in new activities that offer us expanded horizons. Recently, at a Sunday service, we did a group process of discerning what the signs of the times are. Maybe you were here. We handed you a sheet. You all answered 4 questions. And as soon as we get that all collated, we will give you the feedback and the results of that. And that healthy process reminds us that spiritual community is a group process of development that is first and foremost guided by Spirit and for the benefit of the community itself, as well as the larger world out there. It isn't just about our own individual desires, intentions, and goals. Yes, they are included and they're part of it, but it's about the much bigger picture of the divine intention for life itself, for the world, for humanity. It's the ultimate goal of creation that we're looking at here, which is unity in oneness and in love. Jesus, when he was about to go to his crucifixion, said, and it's in chapter 16 of John, he says, that they may be one. That was his dying wish, that they may be one. And that was the vision, the dream that he had for the world. That's what he was dying for. We are, after all, in a collective process of aligning with the divine's intent for us to be one in spirit. Be one. If we wish to be one with anything or anyone, we must partake in that which will bring about oneness, and in this case, namely, loving and caring community and service. So a good question for us to ask is, what do I love about unity in the Gold Country? What do I love about being part of the unity movement? Kelly gave a great testimonial to me right before we began about what she shared with her nephew about why she loves unity, what it means to her. What do you love about the people that are sitting around you this morning and the experiences that are offered here? I just want you to take a second just to kind of let a few things pop up in your head. What is it that you love? And I'm sure first and foremost on that list are the people. It's the people, of course, the living, breathing, divine presence that you encounter, the kind, generous, loving, and spirit-filled people that we have come to know and love. But also, close to the top of the list are all the things that we have done and still do to contribute to the growth and well-being of ourselves, of each other, and of the world about us. So looking back, what was happening when we were fulfilling our mission that made us feel so good about being part of Unity in the Gold Country? There are things that we have done that have been just magnificent, real contributions to the world, to the local community. And another way to put that is, what were we doing to fulfill the divine's dream for us and for the world? And yes, of course, there are always going to be holes in the street that trip us up. But no matter how deep that hole is that you fall into, eventually you will come out of it. And you not only learn to avoid the hole, but to take a completely new path. And many of us, in being part of Unity, that's what this is all about. We took a new path. And for me, this is the central message of the poem. And an equally important part of that is the support of a caring community who helps you out of the hole. It takes time to learn all of this, and patience, especially with ourselves. And what's more, it takes trust. Trust that you can do it and that new opportunities will open up for you. Belief that this one hole, this difficult situation, can lead to completely new and unexpected possibilities as soon as you take responsibility for your own actions and your own life. There has to be that willingness to see. And once you see, then the willingness to do something about it. And a lot of that has to do with getting to know our shadow and getting to have those reactions until we can say, oh, I don't need to do that anymore. And that's how we learn to trust ourselves and to trust life and to trust the community, give us the opportunity to grow and to fall as many times as we need before we get it. And trust, above all else, is the gift of the spiritual community. So today, a few deep holes in my life later, I know that you actually have to fall more often into the same hole until you recognize it as such and understand that it is your own power to learn something to avoid that hole. And above all, that you can choose to walk a sparkling, glittering new street full of possibilities with the help of a loving community, a street called oneness or unity. You have a choice to fall not just into the hole, but to fall in love again. And I'm urging you to do that during this time of pandemic. And I want to share a little photo, a little incident from the last week. On Monday morning, we had a visitor, and I had my heart opened and I had my heart healed. As some of you know, I had a very traumatic experience back in 2011 when my dog died one Sunday morning in the space of an hour. And I have kept my heart closed. We've had another dog, but I kept my guard up. And I have to say that that little dog called Sunshine came in for a blessing. Her grandma and ma brought her in for a blessing. She's about 6 ounces. She's all hair, like a little fluff ball. And she stole my heart. And I know Leslie cried, but then Leslie cries easily. No comment. But honestly, I felt like this opening in my heart afterwards. So we can all open up. We can all still be healed. Amen. Thank you. All right, so let me turn this one off. All right, so that's right. No, we have our power statement for the month of September, which is a new one, and it's the power of order. Understanding divine order, I can embrace paradox and navigate chaos while keeping my balance. Wow. You know, I'm amazed at how all of the things this morning have been just synchronicity. Balance was our daily word. So if you can see that and say that with me, understanding divine order, I can embrace paradox and navigate chaos while keeping my balance. So say all of us. All right, so we have a time now just to acknowledge the blessings in life, the wonderful prosperity and abundance that we all share. And I want to thank you all for your continued support of the work of unity in the Gold Country, which is oneness. We have to keep that in mind. That's what we're working at each day here. And we have our love offering, which I invite you to say along with me. I open my heart to receive, and from the flow of good incoming, I give in love. Thank you. You are loving, kind people. And so Kelly has a beautiful song for us.
You might win a battle, you could win a race, outrun your rivals, come in first place. You could lose your center in the push and the shove, or simply surrender and tune into love. Love's not a contest, it's just who we are. Both the light and the shadow are at home in the heart. Beyond all the struggle, there's music to play and songs to be singing at the end of the day. Love wins, love wins, all is well in the end. Love wins. Love knows no boundaries, it's the light in our eyes, familiar to all, universally prized. There's a world of compassion, and we're good to begin. If we could quit fighting and let love win. Love wins, love wins, all is well in the end. Love wins. When we're up against too much to ask, when we lose our resistance at last, and we realize love's got our back, love wins. For everyone, great and small, we are lifted as we fall, and kindness conquers all. Love wins. Love wins. Love wins. All is well in the end. Love wins. Love wins. Love wins. All is well in the end. Love wins. New life begins when love wins. Thank you.
Beautiful, thank you, Kelly. You know, one of the things I was going to say in the talk is that whichever side of the argument you're on, and all these arguments that are going on, we're all falling into the same hole. No, seriously, we are. We're all making the same mistake. We're allowing ourselves to be caught up in this dualistic argument and making enemies, and we all have to do the same thing to get out of the same hole. Can I hear an amen? Amen. All right. So, if you're stuck in a hole, there's nothing better than a whole bag of Gold Country Lions caramel popcorn. So we have some in the bookstore on sale. It keeps, you can put it in the freezer, I think, and bring it out at Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. We might have some more down the line. But anyway, we do have some of it. So if you're interested, please go in the bookstore. And again, we are in a year of renewal, transformation, awakening, healing, and wonder. All right. So we are giving you just a heads up. We're going to have a 7-week program this year. Depending on where we're at the end of September, whether the COVID numbers are down or up or whatever, it could be in person, it could be hybrid, but it definitely will be on Zoom, and we hope to have different groups at different times of the week. So please keep that in mind. And we're going back to a book that we did almost 10 years ago. I stopped and thought, I said, what would be the book that I think we should revisit during the pandemic? Might sort of really speak to us. And what came to me was The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And of course, now there's all these YouTubes as well, so we can incorporate those as part of the thing. So starting Sunday, October 3rd, we will have a 7-week fall program. So find your book. I know many of you donated them to the library, but you can always just buy an e-copy for yourself online for $2 or whatever. All right, I'm looking forward to that. And there you go, there's the caramel corn, $8 a bag, and portion of the proceeds goes to Unity in the Gold Country. All right. And again, just to keep it out there, we do have the Inspiring Women group, but they're taking a break until COVID numbers are better. We have lots of volunteer positions, so if you would like to show your love and fall in love again and volunteer, there's lots of positions. Call Leslie. All right. And we are adopting the highway. As you know, we're still waiting to hear back, and we are still having signups. We have, I think, now about 10 or 12 people, but that's great. We only have to do it 4 days in the year, so please consider being part of a team. And our change for change, if you brought any change with you, or you've changed in your car you want to get rid of, or at home, will be for the wildlife rehabilitation and release, which is timely. Consider what's happening out there in the forests. And so that will be the change for the month of September and October. All right. And a reminder that this week, Thursday, September 8th, 9th, is the annual World Day of Prayer. We have 2 different things there. It says that September 8th and 9th up above, but it says 9th and 10th. Okay. we will get something to you. And I think that they actually have live streaming this year, so we might get a special little e-bulletin out to you. You can join in. I'm pretty sure it's Thursday. Yeah, trusted. I was going to say that, yeah, because that came from Unity. You might want to edit that. All right, well, thank you so much for being here. It would not have been the same without you. It would have been flat. I would have fallen in another hole of despair. I would be crying. Instead, we had another wonderful Sunday, so thank you. So let's close with our prayer, our unity prayer. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, because I am, and all is well. And Kelly will lead us in our closing song, I Choose Love.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one tie that binds us, that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace in my family is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are part of each other. We are one loving family, sharing one son. I choose love. Peace for our planet is growing because we choose love. Let love be present is what we're made of. We choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One choice unites us. Let this be the